Today we're going to start with one line, and that is, sometimes we grow better apart. Welcome to the Stayin' Wild and Well podcast. My name is Rin, and my greatest accomplishment is being alive. Here we talk about life's journey, the ups, the downs, the in-betweens, all things mental health, body, mind, and spirit. We share wild stories and keeping your wild alive while staying well. I'm going to bring you into the story, the full story of why 17 years of a relationship didn't work out. This story can be helpful to anybody going through a separation, but specifically if you yourself are struggling or have been challenged with mental health and you are growing and evolving and healing and the dynamics within your relationship are changing, this will be really helpful to hear because I'm going to speak about exactly what happened in the relationship and the benefits and the beauty to why this happened. Also, some advice. I'm going to just start from the top. It is crazy how many messages I've received from people I haven't spoken to in years asking me, are you and your partner still together? I don't see you guys posting pictures together anymore. Is everything okay? If this has happened to you because people watch you on social media and you don't even realize it, you don't owe anyone an explanation. You don't need to share. You don't need to tell. And if you are an individual who has sent a message to somebody asking them what's going on in their life and you haven't spoken to them in years, please don't do that. Please don't do that. Because when I was receiving these messages, I was going through so much emotionally. I thought to myself, how could anybody be asking me this when I'm going through this right now? It felt really unempathetic. So for you, if somebody is messaging you, you don't have to answer them. You need to take the time to grieve and process. It has been over 6 months since my relationship has ended, and I have not publicly shared at all. So today, I'm going to go into the depths of what happened and why sometimes we grow better apart. So let's get cozy. Here we go. I believe in twin flames. I believe in soulmates. I believe in karmic relationships, and I believe that me and my partner, we had a very karmic relationship. And if you don't know what karmic relationships are, I'll leave that in the show notes for you so you can dive in a little bit deeper. But essentially, a karmic relationship is when there's a lot of challenges within the relationship that you navigate together as a couple. It's not smooth sailing, and mine and my partner's relationship has never been smooth sailing. It has been challenging, and it hasn't really been within the dynamics of our relationship, but a lot of what was outside of us or me as I moved through my mental health challenges. So, when I met my partner, I was 17 years old, and I met him in the darkest time of my life. And you'll learn about this as I start to share more about myself and the things that I've gone through, because again, there is so much to dive into, and I can't wait to bring you into it all. But it was the darkest time of my life. And I would say 6 months of our relationship was really solid when I was 17 years old. But at 17, I thought we were getting married. We had a joint bank account. We were moving out together. And quickly my health diminished. And for those of you who know me, you'll know that I've gone through an eating disorder and recovered from. But back then, recovery was very far away. And as I became more unwell, and I'm sorry if I get emotional, guys, like it's really fresh. As I became more unwell, I remember my partner trying to connect with me and trying to hang out with me, and I was just like numb. I would sit there and I would like stare at a blank wall. And so eventually we had split up. And years later, we got back together. And I say fate brought us back together because I was in a mentally abusive relationship, and one day I get this email, and it says, "Hey, you know the joint account we had when we were younger? I got a letter in the mail, and it said that this account isn't closed. We need to go in and close it." And I remember receiving this message from him and thinking, oh my God, I haven't spoken to him in years. And I replied and said, yep, I'll be there. I remember the day that I meant to go meet up with him. I'm like making sure I look good. It was summertime. I'm like, I'm going to lay outside, get a bit of a tan, like all the things. And we went into the bank, and the teller said, "I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm sorry, sir, but you shouldn't have received this letter because this account has been closed for years." And the rest is history. 17 years from that point on, we spent one day after the next day after the next day together. And he really saved me from my abusive relationship. It was beautiful. We didn't jump into a relationship right away because we were like, we have history, let's just see where this goes. And next thing you knew, we were together, and it was beautiful. I had left my abusive relationship and moved in with my family, and the dynamics there were not great. And so my partner moved me out. And so the journey began. The part that I'm leaving out is that when he saw me again after all those years, I looked healthy. He thought that I was healthy because I didn't look unwell anymore. I had regained my weight, but anyone who knows about eating disorders knows that it's not about the weight, it's about the mental state. Not about the weight, about the mental state. That's a good line. Remember that. So I wasn't better. And so we move in together, and he realizes, oh, dang. But he was so supportive. He was so supportive, you guys. I remember him walking around the block with me, talking to me, hearing me, holding me as I cried. Like, there was a lot that went into me trying to get well, being back together. But that support and that love quickly changed, probably a year after being together, into tough love. And that tough love was really hard to handle, but also I needed it. And I don't think that I would be better today if it wasn't for the tough love. My family coddled me, and I think on an unconscious level, they coddled me because they felt needed. But that coddling really kept me in a state of victimization. And this is important for you to think about if you are moving through some mental health challenges and the way you show up with your family, because this might actually be keeping you stuck within the dynamics of what you're moving through. So they would be like, oh, Sabrina, you're really not well, or you should go to the hospital, or are you okay? And that coddling would keep me like, oh no, I'm not okay. Like, I wanted love so badly, and to be seen and to be heard and to be recognized because of all the trauma that I'd gone through, that when they showed me that, I wanted to stay in this place of being unwell because it meant that I was being seen, but it was also keeping me stuck in victimhood and keeping me stuck unwell. And this is where the tough love that my partner offered me really, really helped, because it forced me to pick myself up and dust my shoulders off. But why was it hard? Because what went from walks around the block and conversations and understanding and support suddenly became, oh, you're crying again? Slam the door. Oh, you're going through something? Okay. It wasn't met with compassion and empathy and advice. It was a lack of tolerance. It was my fire would feed his fire and make him anxious, and he would then leave me in the fire. And what I came to know was that his upbringing and his childhood, and this is his story to share, not mine, so it's just super high level, he didn't have the tools to know how to express his emotions, so he would stuff them inside. He didn't have the tools to know how to show up for somebody, because no one's ever shown up for him in those ways, that he didn't know how to show up for me. So what was compassionate love in the beginning became tough love. And again, that tough love forced me to pick myself up, dust my shoulders off, and take care of myself. I didn't want to keep crying every day. I didn't want to keep being a victim. I was tired of feeling the way I was feeling. And I remember thinking to myself, okay, the only way to get through this is to assign meaning to what I'm going through. So this is a really good tip for you. If you are struggling to get better and you cannot do it for yourself, how can you assign meaning to what you are going through? How can you find a greater purpose in order to drive you towards betterment and health? I had chosen, I want to help people one day. And I also want to be a better girlfriend for my partner. He deserves a better partner. And I remember saying, I want to help people one day, and mentors in my life said, well, you can't help people until you help yourself. You got to get better first. So it was like, okay, well, if I'm going to assign meaning to this, I got to get better. And then it was, okay, well, if I want to be a better girlfriend and a better partner for what my partner deserves, I got to get better. So I would tell my partner, I'm doing it for you. And he would constantly remind me that I needed to do it for me. Again, this is something that, gosh, I'm so grateful for today as I see my relationship, as I see the ways it didn't work out. He taught me to truly love myself. Every single time I'd say, no, I'm doing it for you. I can't do it for me. He would say, nope, do it for you. Nope, do it for you. And I remember doing these activities, and I get my clients to do this today. And I remember how foolish I felt when I first started doing it. I would stand in the mirror and I'd look myself in the mirror dead in the face and I'd go, I love myself. I love you. And I would look her real close in the eyes. And I remember thinking, like, this is so silly. I don't even believe any of this. And then one day I looked in the mirror and I said, I love you. I really love you. And I looked into her eyes and I started to cry because I really meant it. I wasn't doing it for my partner anymore. I was doing it for me. When I would cry, I would be picking myself up and dusting my shoulders off. I was afraid to eat food, and you're going to learn about this. I was afraid to eat food, and before YouTube was big, before Instagram, Facebook, social media, I would put my camera on and I would film myself eating a granola bar, and I'd be like, okay, I'm really scared to eat this granola bar. And I would take a bite and I'd be like, okay, it tastes good. I'd smile. I would feel the fear. I was recording myself in real time, doing experiments on myself to get better, motivating myself because I knew I wanted to help people one day. You do not have to do it for anyone outside of you. It doesn't matter what people think. Whatever you choose to be the thing that's greater than you, lean into it as your driving factor in order to get better. That's a little tip here. So anyways, this tough love was what I needed. And even though it was really harsh in many ways, it is what forced me to get better because there was no one coming to rescue me. There was no one coming to save me. And the way my family showed up with me kept me in a state of victimization. So I couldn't take that support from them because it wasn't helping me recover. You might ask yourself, how did you marry somebody when the love was tough love? You know, the interesting thing is that when my partner proposed to me, I knew he couldn't support me in the ways that I desperately wanted because as I learned how to take care of myself, I started to feel like something was missing. Like I did want him to hold me when I cried. And there were moments that he did, but it was very rare. But I remember saying to myself that he's my best friend. And he is. He's still my best friend. We're separating and he's still my best friend. That's why it's so tragic. But I said to myself, okay, well, he's my best friend. And if he supports me, I am lucky to have a supportive partner. You guys, You are not lucky to have a supportive partner. What is the point of being in a relationship if you are not going to support each other and help each other grow as individuals? It was a very unhealthy, toxic way of thinking. Yes, you want to be able to rely on yourself. Yes, you need to have the strength to take care of yourself. No, you should never rely on anybody to fully take care of you. But you should have a healthy relationship where it is supporting one another and growing together in a happy balance. And he married me thinking, well, her mental health is going to go away one day. That type of thinking, if I had known that he had thought that, I would have never married him. And there's nothing against him when he says that and thinks that, and I hold space for that, because again, people could only meet you where they're at. What this is and what this was a true lack of understanding when it comes to mental health, and understanding that the challenges we face and the coping mechanisms we develop don't just go away. It takes a lot of work. And in fact, in my case, living from a space of recovery, they still pop up. My gosh, as I'm moving through my separation, you would be so surprised how they've shown up, and I'm going to speak to that in another video, because gosh, have the coping mechanisms shown up. But here's the thing. This is where I'm leading you into the story and why sometimes we grow better apart. As I continue to heal, as I continue to recover, and in between our marriage, we had this beautiful life that we created, and these adventures and these moments of belly laughter, so much joy. I started to change, and I no longer wanted tough love. I wanted a supportive partner. So I would say, hey, can we talk? Hey, can we talk? And he was like, oh my God, why are we always talking? Why is the relationship getting so serious all the time? I want to have fun. I want to have joy. And in his defense, my gosh, you can imagine 17 years together is 17 years of moving through the roller coaster of being with a partner who's been challenged with mental health. It wasn't easy for him. I will hold space over and over again to say the experience he had, I cannot fully speak to, but it is not easy to be with somebody who is going through mental health challenges. So his threshold and his patience was smaller and smaller and smaller. He just wanted to enjoy life with his partner. But I was saying, can we talk? We had developed a dynamic in our relationship where he provided tough love, and I would take that tough love and try to grow from it. But keep in mind, when we first got together, I was really insecure. So this tough love was totally acceptable. But as I recovered and healed, I recognized that this tough love is not the type of relationship I want. I want a supportive partner. I want a partner who will talk with me about the things that I'm going through. I want to feel like it is safe to cry around my partner, where it didn't feel safe to cry around my partner. My fire fed his fire, and he would leave me in the fire. If I cried, it would cause him anxiety. If I was moving through something, it would cause him to feel uneasy because of the trauma he endured based on what I had gone through. There was a dynamic, there was a past that he couldn't see beyond. So even though I was this healthier version of me, he couldn't meet me there. He couldn't meet me at the healthy version of me. So now what's happening is he's reaching for me in one way and I'm reaching for him in another, and we didn't even see this. And this is the importance of knowing that as we recover and as we heal, we're growing. And suddenly, I want a partner that wants to talk about personal development. I'm building a business and I'm so passionate. I have taken everything I have gone through and assigned meaning to it. And I believe at my core, my purpose of being here today is to help others so that they don't have to experience what I've experienced, that they know there is true freedom on the other side, that they can feel free and that they can enjoy life and that they can connect. And I was doing a lot of meditation and a lot of spiritual practices. And I didn't just sit down and watch TV. In fact, I never really sat through a full movie without writing or thinking, or I was always wanting to be in this place of enhancement. That's not to say that I didn't have times where we would cuddle and watch movies and stuff. Of course, we need brain candy. We need to just relax. And I am a true proponent for being able to sit in your stillness and just be. But I really wanted a deeper connection. I wanted music and conversation. And he didn't want to talk. He was tired of talking. He wanted somebody who would come home and just cuddle up and watch a show. He wanted leisure, and there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, that is really beautiful. Just the life that we both wanted started to look a little bit differently. Best friends outside of the home. We love to hike together. We love adventuring. We love the same type of music, the same types of food, coffee snobs. Like the life that we shared was still like best friends. But what we wanted in terms of support within a relationship started to look really different. And it looked like two magnets that were trying to connect, but just kept missing each other. And thus, a slow separation began. And that's what happened within the dynamics of our relationship. That's what happened. We slowly started to grow apart. And we didn't know how to show up differently with each other because of the past that was created. I really wanted to work on our marriage. I was like, let's work on this. Let's fix this. Let's do therapy. Let's talk about this. And he was tired. And when I became an option, because he felt emotionally disconnected, naturally, because he's like, who is this person? She's getting snobby with her words, because I started to build resent when he wasn't connecting with me in the ways that I wanted, when I was constantly receiving tough love. So I wasn't meeting him with love anymore. He was becoming more emotionally disconnected, and I was becoming resentful. And again, on this like unconscious level, he was tired. And I don't blame him, you guys. And when I recognized, well, dang, I don't want to be an option. If he doesn't want to work on it, I don't want to be with somebody who doesn't want to work on it. It really became a no-brainer for us. And as we stepped back, we both saw, even though it happened this way, we both saw like, dang, we've grown apart. We want different things. Though we are so much the same and best friends, what we want in a relationship looks really different. And this is the key. If you are moving through mental health, this is the big buildup, and why I'm sharing this. Sometimes we grow better apart. I would never, ever be able to be who I am meant to be if we stayed together, because I would have to make myself smaller in order to show up to be the person that he wants. I wouldn't be going after my dreams, after my goals, after the things that really give me purpose and meaning in life. And he would never fully be happy because he'd never be receiving the things that he wants and connecting with somebody in the ways that he wants. Thus, he wouldn't get to be the best version of him. So the reality is when we separate and when we heal, we often become better versions of ourselves, and we grow better apart than we do together. And what I want to encourage you to do, if you are moving through a separation and you've gone through mental health and you have grown and you're in a space of recovery, is to find the beautiful lessons within the journey that you had together. I speak a lot about this tough love that my partner provided me, because if it wasn't for that tough love, I wouldn't be who I am today. I wouldn't love myself in the way I do today if he didn't drive home, do it for you, do it for you. I wouldn't love myself today if it wasn't for that tough love. And recognizing that we have different upbringings, and they play a crucial role in how we show up in our relationship. And what might seem really challenging can be something that helps you grow. So in the darkness, in the hardship, there is so much beauty. And I look at 17 years of my relationship and how we're still such best friends. And that's the emotional part. That's the hard part right now, is still loving this person so much and feeling such deep grief and crying and moving through, oh my God, half my life, how are we going to live without each other? There is beauty, and you can be amicable, and you can find growth within a 17-year loss. 17-year loss. I hear myself say that and I'm like, nothing is lost. And I know that at my core, because there has been so much growth, and we both wouldn't be who we are today if it wasn't for the journey that we took on together. Sometimes you grow better apart. Trust in the journey. Trust in the evolution of who you are. Find the meaning behind what you have moved through. There is so much beauty in the hardship, in the growth, in a love that you shared. So my biggest takeaway for you, if you are moving through a mental health journey and you are on the road to recovery and you see your relationship changing and you see it shifting, I don't want you to be scared. I want you to look at it as a beautiful adventure. If you feel the fear, to move towards it anyways. If we are not growing and we are keeping ourselves small in order to stay in a relationship, that means we are dying. And if we are dying, there's nothing left of this life. You want to keep moving forward, keep growing, keep being the best version of you. And if your relationship slowly grows apart, take the lesson. Carry it with you. My greatest gift is that I will forever get to carry the love that we shared within me and remind myself of the self-love that I have learned and drive it in all that I do. What can you find? What can you take away? And how can you drive it into everything that you do?